Hello, welcome to another episode of Flip Your Switch with Grace. This is part two. We are having hard time with our Wi-Fi tonight. Tonight, without further ado, we welcome Dr. Beth. This podcast is about educating people, uh, um, motivating people, and at the same time, sharing our story. So, without further ado, again for part two, take two, let me call Dr. Beth.
Part two. Wrong. Sorry, we lost you guys. I thought it's only in the Philippines that we get to have this kind of a problem with all this Wi-Fi. So we will try to find justice about your waiting about this favorite topic, which is about fear. Okay, let's roll it, Miss Grace.
Yes, yes. Tell me about let's start with what is fear and
Okay.
also talk about the types of fear.
Okay, when you talk about fear, um, it is your perception, about an imminent danger. When you say about imminent danger, imagine yourself with a kidnapper or a holdup holding a gun, and the threat is very real. That you can actually anticipate any time you can get shot, you can die, and if you talk about calamities, you see volcanic eruption. That eruption is right in front of you. That is an imminent danger. That is fear, and that is logic. You can reason and you see that it is real. So that is what fear is all about. But then there are some instances where you can actually say this fear is not really something that is logic, which means that it doesn't match, what is real. Um, let's talk about some people, they are afraid to face the clown. Some people don't like seeing clowns. Some people don't want to even think about creepy things. When you talk about creepy things, it's like a snake. Although you can actually say, well, it depends on what kind of an experience does this person have. You can call it like the kind of fear that is evolution, because if you did not have any prior exposure, like to an animal or to anything that is real, then there is no way that you can be afraid because you don't really have any such experience with them. But if you have been in a situation where you have already encountered these snakes or any kind of animals where you actually had an experience, so the next time you see them, you just fear about it. And some would categorize it as under the issue of phobia. There's a lot of issues about phobia, but they are kind of different, from what fear is all about. Fear is something that is logic. Fear is something that is real. In phobias, there is just an extreme kind of fear, extreme kind of anxiety that is beneath. And sometimes it is not even logic, it's not logical. That is what you call about phobia. Some people are afraid of heights, right? Some people are afraid to fly. There's so many people who would not want to take the airplane and would rather go by the ship, because of their fear of heights, fear of flying. And those are what we call phobias. And these phobias sometimes they are really they do not match, the kind of fear that a person should be experiencing about. And this is what we call sometimes as something pathologic. And these are the things that we do need to have therapeutic sessions with.
Yes, yes.
Mhm.
So we have some like terminologies like when we are fearful of heights. What do you call
Right.
that? Um,
Okay, yeah. So it's just like, you are afraid of an enclosed area. You call it the claustrophobia.
mhm.
You fear about all this kind of phobias. I am just thinking, that if we go about all these phobias, it might bore our our clients, our people, our audience. Let's just talk about the simple fear, that people usually experience. And of course, we cannot deny the fact that most people now are fearful about all these pandemics, about these variants. Of course, these are real. They are things that are in existence. So the real way, to handle all these things, mostly would be by education, and letting people give the right information.
Yes. Can fear? What are the physical like symptoms of like fear? Right now we have fear of unknown, fear of being sick,
Right.
fear, you know,
Uh-huh.
um, losing our job. So what
Uh-huh.
are the
Uh-huh.
physical symptoms of this fear?
Okay.
Um, go
Yeah,
ahead.
it is amazing, how God loved people, because from the very start, he did not design us to live in fear. In fact, he has said so many times, perfect love will cast out fear. Well, when we talk about perfect love, we talk about God. And because he is a perfect God, everything should come out naturally, to be in perfect situation. But as humans, and as weak as we are, sometimes we tend to forget that there is somebody who is more powerful, and this is the reality of life. But still, God created this human body, to be able to cope, when we are faced in such a situation. If you are familiar about the flight and the flee, it's like when you are in danger, it's either you get frozen, or you fly, or you just fight, or you just run. And so when you talk about the reaction of the body, we have such thing as what we call the autonomic nervous system. This autonomic nervous system would discuss about what is the sympathetic nervous system, what is this parasympathetic nervous system. It is really critical that you do understand what these two things are, because if you are able to find out what they do with your body, then you have a way of being able to avoid, this kind of reaction. Although, by nature, these two systems, they take care of our body in a way that we don't even need to do anything. Because, like what I've said, in the perfection of how God created us, he equipped us with these systems, where it will take care about what the body should do when in face of danger, and after facing that danger, it relaxes the body by itself. So when we talk about the sympathetic nervous system, this is the system when you are already in the face of a stress, in the face of a danger. It gives you that kind of a sensation where the body will push you, to protect itself. So what happens is, it tends to protect yourself. It hides itself. It masks everything. Like your body becomes as rigid. You don't move. Your blood pressure rises, and it pushes you, to be on a protective mode. So there is this automatic kind of a feeling, that you just try to protect yourself. Just imagine, yourself getting inside a cocoon, and insist yourself so that nothing can really harm you. It makes your body stiff. It makes your heart just beat so fast, because it is ready to really run away. This surge, of things that happen is it gives you the adrenaline, to run and run and run, and after all this danger, the parasympathetic nervous system would take care of calming your body down, so first you get excited, and then later on, it appeases yourself. You become more secure, and now you come down and you go back, to your being normal. All these things are okay if your body is in the right kind of health, when you are in perfect health. But this sympathetic and parasympathetic kind of reaction do not always or are not always able to do their part when something is wrong with your body. So with this, you can actually, okay, if you do not take care of your health, like you have high blood sugar, you have hypertension, you have the heart disease, then with all this kind of illnesses, your body is not able to cope, with all this kind of reactions. That's why it is very important that you should be mindful, of what you eat, of what you do, and you should have the proper nutrient, and I think my Miss Grace, would be able to elaborate about this sympathetic kind of reactions. I know you do, because you're into the carbohydrate diet and all this kind of good nutrition. Give a
Yeah,
little background about it,
I will. I will later. The low carb fasting, or trying to, eliminate the
Uh-huh.
inflammation of your
Uh-huh.
body, as decreasing your also in the inflammation of your brain, to have
Right,
a healthy brain, and we're able to function it. So with
right.
this, I'd like to say hi to Marjorie, who's watching. I know she's watching from
W-
Texas. Marjorie is.
Wow, Texas.
Yes, guys, comment below. I know it's late here. I know some of the people are late here, but we're gonna do this in YouTube. All
Uh-huh.
right. So, Doctora, going
Uh-huh.
back,
Uh-huh.
going to you. So,
Uh-huh.
there's a types of fears. There's physical fears. There are thought fears. Will you tell us about the fears
Okay.
with, and how can we handle those
Oh,
thoughts?
okay. All right. All right. The rational kind of fear, of course, one would be the fear of annihilation, fear of death, fear of being shamed, fear of mutilation, abandonment, humiliation. These are real. These are real. But then, when you are able to think and calm down, it is a lot easier, to be able to cope well with this kind of fear. So, what do we recommend, to be able to face all this kind of fear? Um, well, one would be you really have to have a very good diet, to be physically fit. But it doesn't happen in just a day. It is a daily kind of a living. But during the moment, you really have to face it. Do not run away from it, because unless you deal with the situation, you will never be able to solve, the kind of fear that you have. You really have to face it. And how do you do that? Just go on with it. Feel the moment, and be mindful of your breathing. Sit down, relax. It does help, when you have to count 1 to 10, because the reason for doing that is you are trying to overpower the kind of mindset that you have. It is a way of being able to divert your attention to a more positive kind of an energy, because during the moment that you are facing fear, of course everything that you are thinking about is all the negativity. It is always something is going wrong, or something is going to be wrong. And that is the negativity that happens. That's why you are fearful of those things. But when you try to relax, sit down, face whatever it is, and try to rationalize, think properly. And the only way to do that is just go through it. And once you are able to go through it, then you are able to relax. And then you can actually be able to analyze what the situation is all about. And get out, get some fresh air. Because if you try to focus yourself, while you're walking, look around you, see the trees, the birds and the bees. So they say, see the plants, the greeneries and all that. Then you are able to see outside the box, where you have put yourself into that kind of feel of danger. When you go out, you can actually see reality. Where's the fear? You are safe, you are okay. And it will even give you time, to meditate, to be thankful, that there is really nothing about this fear that you are conceptualizing or thinking. You can actually tell yourself how blessed you are, how fortunate you are, because here you are. Compare yourself with some people who are now in the hospital, fighting for their lives, and here you are able to walk, and you are well, and there's really nothing wrong with you. So when you are grateful, you're grateful about things, the more you are able to appreciate, the more you are able to free yourself from any kind of fear. And that is what love is all about. The love of God giving you a peace, giving you calmness. That is what it is, when you are being thankful of where you are or what you are.
Yes. And you are right, Doctora. The thoughts is there, but we have
Uh-huh.
to remind that thought sometimes, there's a lot of fear going on with this teenager, going to the
Uh-huh.
college, going to school. So
Uh-huh.
the thought of fear is just a thought, but it
Uh-huh.
doesn't mean it's true. So
Yeah.
you have to determine if your
Uh-huh.
thought is true or not. Let's
Right.
say, oh, they're not gonna like me. Oh, they're
Right.
gonna be mean to me. So
Uh-huh.
that's a thought. But
Uh-huh.
then
Uh-huh.
you determine that whatever thought you have might not be true. So
Right.
you have to know, yes, that's a thought.
Uh-huh.
um well, a lot of these teenagers would feel that, oh, I am a failure. Even
Mm-hmm.
adult
Mm-hmm.
use with our patients, they will
Right.
think I am a failure. But
Right. Uh-huh.
I'm not cool. So, but
Mm-hmm.
that
Mm-hmm.
is just a thought. So you have to determine that that thought might not be true, right?
Right.
So you
Right.
have to
Mm-hmm.
think in your mind, okay, Grace, you're thinking that you are not cool or you are a failure, but
Mm-hmm.
then, okay, the other side of you will say, and I've learned this from other psychologists. You have to verbalize it sometimes or talk to yourself.
Verbalize it. It is true.
Yes, yeah, verbalize it. Okay, Grace, you are
Mm-hmm.
thinking that you are not cool, but you are. So
Uh-huh.
you have to remind yourself and talk to yourself that you are that, and that's not true, right?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
A lot of people are these days, Doctora, is having anxiety. What is
Uh-huh.
the relationship of fear and anxiety? How do
Okay.
you?
Of course, when you are fearful about things, there is always anxiety. You become anxious about things. But I have counseled many kids, teenagers, adults and the like, where they feel like they are unwanted, where they feel that they are being bullied, where they feel like they are not enough, and I would usually turn their focus, on those people that are talking, and I give them this question, how credible are these people talking to you? Who are they? What is it that they have that you do not have? What is it that they have that you cannot have? Or if if ever something goes wrong, like because we are breathing the same air, right? So if I tell you, that just to show you that you're no different and they're no different from you, it's like everybody um requires oxygen. Everybody needs air to breathe. This kind of a situation will not discriminate any person, whether you're rich or poor, young or old. We all need the same kind of air that we are breathing in. That means that no one can really be more proud, no one can even be more arrogant, and no one can even boast, that I am different from who you are. And when you tell them, oh yeah, if I take off this oxygen, pull out the air right now, how different are you going to be? And then you will realize, that we definitely were created equal. We were given the same kind of benefit, that everybody does have. So that does not make you a lesser person, because you are definitely all equal, and don't ever feel less of yourself.
That's right, Doctora. That
Mm-hmm.
is very powerful. Would like to say hi to our viewers in Global TV. Somebody's watching. I know you're watching there. So comment,
Hello.
what is your biggest fear? Right? Comment below. Yeah, so
Uh-huh.
that if you, or if you have some questions with Doctora, Doc Beth is
Uh-huh.
a counseling psychologist. She is a medical doctor. Tell me about your practice, Doc. You know, deviating from our
um well,
here.
what is funny, it looks like I have been created to always give charity work. It looks like I never really earned, with regards to the kind of profession that I have. I always end up doing it for pleasure. I always end up doing it with passion. Every time I work, it looks like I'm being diverted back to what I need to do. I've worked with foster kids. Then all of a sudden, for some reason that job is gone. I used to work with the hospice patients, and for some reason, because of this COVID that took place, of course, you cannot continue doing a face-to-face kind of work, with COVID that we have. But most of the time, I'm always asked to just be on the show, talk through online, and all that. So it's like I don't really have a job,
Wow.
but it's just funny. How am I being taken care of? I don't know. All that I know is I eat a lot. I eat a lot, more than 3 times a day, and I'm well provided for. I do not have any kind of a luxury. But for some reason, this is who I am. This is what I do.
Wow, thank you so much, guys. I would like to say thank you so much for Dr. Beth. Because almost of our speakers, we don't compensate them with money, and they are giving our time, their knowledge to help people, especially with this pandemic. A lot
Uh-huh.
of people are in fear of unknown. They're sick, and
Uh-huh.
what is your message to these people, Doctor, especially those people in the Philippines
Oh
having
yeah.
time. I've talked to a lot. I've coached some people having we call it the long COVID.
Uh-huh.
They got sick COVID, but then they still are recovering,
Right.
and for years and months they're still having those symptoms. They can't
Uh-huh.
breathe, their organs are failing. What is your, and there's like a lot of fear. That is the
Uh-huh.
reason why I asked Doctora to talk about this, how to manage fear. What is your
Uh-huh.
message to them, Doctora, given this opportunity?
Um so they say, 99.9% of the time, the things that you think are going to happen never happens. And if I may quote Roosevelt, is saying, what you really fear is the fear of having fear, which is funny, which is true. What paralyzes a person is not really the threat, is not really the danger, but the fear of fear itself. Why? Because your body reacts towards fear. It gives this kind of an inflammatory response. If we might consider talking about cytokines, the cytokines are inflammatory responses. They usually are produced when the sympathetic nervous system reacts. This is the fight mode of your body. What happens is this inflammatory response reacts. It produces the cytokines, and the cytokines are known, to be associated with pain, with think about arthritis. Usually the cytokines are very well known and well associated with the pain that the people with gout, with arthritis have, because these are the inflammatory responses that the body gives out, when you are in a situation where you are under stress, when you are anxious about things. The fight mode um triggers your body, to produce the what we call the epinephrines to adrenalines. If you are aware, sometimes during there is a fire. Let's say there is a fire. These things you don't even think, but for some reason you are able to carry a refrigerator. This is the reaction of your adrenaline. You are able to carry no matter how many pounds. You are able to carry everything. But you'll be surprised, because after that fire, after that adrenaline rush, you cannot even carry anything. So this is what happens, when you're in the fight mode. So this is exactly what happens when all those hormones, when all those substances are produced. You are given a surge of a lot of energy. Your glucose even rises. It increases. Why? Because this glucose will give you the energy, to do the fight mode. Okay. And because of that, your body just becomes stiff. You run. Your blood pressure rises, your vessels, your blood vessels constrict. So it gives you all this kind of reactions, hypertension and all that. But if there's a match, to that kind of activity, it's fine. And after a while, the parasympathetic nervous system reacts, where you are now to be able to calm down. But this is what happens, when a dysfunction occurs. It is when there is not even a danger, and there is a rush of adrenaline, and there's an increase of glucose, and there's the constriction of your blood vessels, and you are just sitting still without doing anything. It's just because you're being fearful. And so therefore, your body's mechanism that is equipped to do the activity is not really doing anything. And so what happens? Your blood pressure increases, the adrenaline, the sugar, and all that, and being consumed, because you are not doing anything. And this is when the bad results happen to your body, inflammatory reaction, etc., etc. That is what destroys, your organs, your heart, your your liver, your kidneys, and this is what we are talking about, the production of these stressful hormones.
Yeah, that is right. And that's very important nowadays. Sometimes we're so fearful of being sick. But
Uh-huh,
then this the physical symptoms of this fears, you're feeling like you are choking, you're
uh-huh,
feeling unsteady, dizziness,
uh-huh,
lightheadedness,
uh-huh,
and sometimes you have like a chest pain or tightness in the chest, the
uh-huh,
sweating, the hot, cold, and flushes and shortness of breath, and sometimes people get dizzy,
uh-huh.
sometimes feel of vomiting, and sometimes the sympathetic is it also affects our intestine, which we
Oh
have
yeah, yeah.
diarrhea. So
You get diarrhea.
yeah, for those who are having a fear of getting sick, you actually, by the think or the thought of you getting
Mhm.
sick, and it's constant and you're not moving, like
Uh-huh,
especially isolation,
uh-huh.
it will actually make your immune system go down.
Right.
So, and that's the reason why we suggest, or for people who are, being locked down, is to, if you have time, to get up, if you're allowed, get out, get a
Uh-huh.
sunshine, vitamin
It's
D.
sunshine.
Yeah,
Mhm.
vitamin D is very important. And
Uh-huh.
also, I'd like to mention that, eating sweets would decrease your vitamin D.
Right.
Especially the high fructose, yeah, you're getting isolation, but you're eating a lot of sugar, eating a lot
Uh-huh.
of carbs. That's why um, I promote low carb fasting. It
Right.
to heal you is that when you have this decrease in what's this decrease
Uh-huh.
in inflammation, you
Uh-huh.
are also healing. So it's not
Right.
about this and this, and you. It's funny, Doctora, that you mentioned that it increase your glucose. So
Right.
that's the reason. That is the reason why a lot of people gain weight, right?
Right.
Because you increase your glucose, you stimulate your hormone, the insulin,
True.
that
Uh-huh.
is also making you gain weight or produce fats. So guys,
Right.
try to lessen that fear in you,
Right.
because that's the way to lose weight, to be
Uh-huh.
healthy. So tell me about, Doctora, how can you manage fear? I know
Mhm.
we discussed a little bit of how to manage it, but on this type of fear that people in lockdown, people
Uh-huh.
who's sick, people who's having a long COVID, or
Uh-huh.
people just having anxiety attack, what are the tips that you could do, or
Mhm.
that you could say to these people?
um well, like I have mentioned earlier, do not run away from it. In fact, the way to handle fear is, go through it. Do not run away. When you go through it, it means, you try to face the situation, try to see what is going on. In fact, it will help you out, if you can write it down. I would usually tell my clients, to write down things that they feel during the time that they are facing that kind of fear. When you write it down, it actually helps you to see clearly, on what is going on. And also in writing, it helps you to slow down, it helps you to think, and it helps you to see, the reality of, okay, this day this is how I felt. And then write down, during the time that you felt it, what was happening. How did it trigger, this kind of fear? When you are able to point out, things, then it is easier to solve it is easier to solve a problem when you know what it is. And if you just put it in your mind more often than not, you will tend to forget. And so I always strongly encourage people, when you are in such a situation, get a notebook, get a pencil, get a paper, write it down. And while you're writing it down, during the moment, how are you feeling? And how are you able to cope up, so towards the end of your writing, you will see, you are able to recall. And let's say it happened the past 5 days, and you can actually say, what is common, what is the common thing that you have written, that always caused you to fear. um let's say, for example, during the time you were watching TV, okay, write it down. While watching TV, I saw the news, and the news says, that the COVID cases has gone to so and so, and that triggered you. You got scared, and then what did you do? And then the next day, you are again in a situation where you are fearful. Write it down. What caused you to fear? Is it the TV again? Is it the news again? Is it the media again? So when you are able to point out, okay, every time that I hear news, every time I watch TV, I always become fearful. So what will be the next step? Of course, if it is the television, if it is the news, if it is the media that is triggering you to be fearful, then stop. Stop watching television. Do something that is more productive. That's why, always be mindful. What are these things, that are causing you to be afraid? So that is one thing. Another is, do not isolate yourself. Get connected. Of course, because of these lockdowns, and you do not have the accessory, to be with other people. Still, we have the technology. You can always call, you can always Zoom, you always can do the virtual meetings. It is the way of life, and it is when you get connected, then you know that you are alive, and you know that it is real, and you know that you are not alone. And exercise, aerobic exercises, they actually help, because you are trying to stimulate substances. You want to stimulate some hormones, that can create the atmosphere of being happy. Because we know there are things that we call stress hormones. There are also hormones that we call happy hormones. I think we have discussed about those before. But there's such a thing as a happy hormone. And you can go back to all those kind of talks that we had before. But due to time constraint, we are not able to discuss more about it. Maybe next time. But always try to be mindful, of yourself. Concentrate, focus, love yourself, and love being alive, and be thankful.
Yes, yes. We have a lot of things to do
Oh yeah.
to talk about, but we're trying to squeeze in it's possible to 1 hour maybe. So
Yeah.
you mentioned about like the food. So I'd like to also add that what are the foods to eat to reduce some anxiety or some fear. Some studies are said that dark chocolates are great. The turmeric that decreases your inflammations are great.
Uh-huh.
Some probiotics, yogurt,
Uh-huh.
fatty fish with has omegas
Omega. Uh-huh.
three, fatty fish
Uh-huh.
with salmon, mackerel, sardines,
Uh-huh.
some
Right.
nuts, especially the Brazil nuts. Um,
Uh-huh.
so those are the or mostly the green leafy vegetables, which are
Uh-huh.
very those are food that's decreasing your inflammation. So we have
Right.
some podcasts on that. But Doctor, what are your experience? Bring me back to a situation where you have some people that you're coaching that's really challenged you. Can you share about it, related to fear and anxiety, and how did it go?
Okay. We have to understand that not every person would fear the same kind of fear that you have, because fear sometimes is genetics, fear sometimes is environmental, fear is something that was created by the person experiencing it. It is too subjective. So when you deal with people, who talk about fear, and in your own standard, you just laugh at it because you never experience the same kind of fear that they are experiencing. Do not be prejudiced. You really have to listen, but still, as a psychotherapist, I still have to validate the kind of fears that people are facing. Like what I've said, I've had some clients who are just too afraid to see clowns, and you know that there's really nothing to be fearful about seeing a clown. So what I did is I asked somebody, from the family to actually buy a mascot or a mask, that would create the face of a clown. And so, little by little, I tried to gradually expose this client, to the clowns that he was fearful about. So what we did is we played roles. I asked the mom, the sister, or a brother that he trusts, that he knows. And so in front of him, I asked his family to wear the mask of a clown in front of him, and then he realized, that really there's nothing to fear about these clowns, because he has some issues of trust, like masking. And so when we dug on the issue, it is because there were people who were faking things, and the clowns, they are smiling, they are laughing, but they are not real, they are fake people. So the association actually is not the face of the clown, but it is because of the character of the person wearing it. And so when he knew that that was his family, he was able to cope, that it is not really bad, that this is something that is just physical. What is important is how you see a person deep down inside. That you should not be prejudiced, that you should not be judging a person, by what he wears, by what he looks, and how he looks. So that is how we dealt with the issue. That is one kind of fear. Those who fear about elevators, they become claustrophobic. Just thinking that they will be in a very enclosed place, it gives them that kind of fear. It is actually already claustrophobia. It's phobia. And so, what kind of therapy that we did? I did the cognitive behavioral therapy. I gave him some kind of exercises, where he will be able to get used to, to a place that is enclosed. So we started first in a big room, and then in a smaller room, and then in a closet, until he's able to get inside that elevator. And we tried to make him understand what happened. How did he become claustrophobic? And when you trace on the history, it is because during childhood, what happened was, when instead of grounding, when he did something that is not good, the punishment done by the parents is they put him inside a closet. It is a history, and so we had to deal with that kind of issue, and let him be able to free himself, forgive people who did that to him. And that really saved, and that really helped him a lot. Those are some examples of the fears that we have encountered.
Yes, thank you, Doctor. I would like to say hi to my family in the Philippines who's watching, and
Hello,
also
Philippines.
my friends. So to add, Doctor, about the food that helps anxiety,
Uh-huh.
control anxiety, for fruits, we have oranges, grapefruit, and other citrus fruits are a great way to get your vitamin C. Study
Right.
shows that, it reduces your stress levels.
Uh-huh.
Vitamin C is a powerful antioxidant that boosts
Uh-huh.
your immune system. So get some
Uh-huh.
vitamin C as well as vitamin D.
Right.
And we'd like to also add, if you're feeling stressed, you could also drink tea. Matcha powder is very powerful, and the kimchi and the garlic and
Yep.
yeah, some teas that your favorite is ginger tea. So
Mm-hmm.
Doctor, how we talk about how we address, how we handle what are the foods that could decrease, their fear. So, what is your final message to those people who's watching, having that fear, and how do you inspire like your clients to get out of it? What's your
Okay.
final?
um when you think about it, fear is not really bad. Um actually it is a gift. It is a gift to us that we are able to feel that kind of fear, because in fear we are able to do something. It is like a key, that is going to tell you that, okay, you should be fearful about it. It is one way to protect yourself. Actually, it is one way to really save yourself from any danger, because if you do not fear about anything, you're not gonna do anything. That's why, it is a gift. Like, if you are being spiritual about it, the only reason sometimes you have this kind of fear is, God is telling you to do something. It's like, you feel some pain in your chest, okay, and you really become fearful about it. And because of that, what do? You really have to be vigilant. If you fear that there's some chest pain, what do? You go to the doctor. You see the doctor, and have a physical checkup. Because if you do not fear about anything, then you are not gonna do anything. Okay. If you do not fear about being home late, then what is the tendency? You will just ignore your parents telling you, come home early because it's not safe to be outside. So if you do not fear about your life, then you just, stay really really late outside where it's not even safe. But if you fear about it, then it gives you that kind of responsibility. Like, you are aware that it is not safe, so you go home early. Fear about your health. If you fear about your health, then what do? You take care of your health. Find ways on how to take care of your body. Find ways of what kind of food that you're supposed to be eating. And if you do not fear about anything, then you are not gonna do anything. That is the good side of being fearful. But if you do not do anything, and yet you still fear about things, then the problem becomes even worse. So fear is the key. That is telling you, it is telling you to avoid things, to prevent things from happening. So, in as much as about pain, sometimes we complain a lot about pain. Okay. Um pain is associated with fear. Like what I've said, when you fear, the cytokines which are responsible to creating this kind of inflammatory reactions, if you do not do anything, then if you don't take notice, and if you don't pay attention to that pain that you are feeling, then you are in for destruction. Because the inflammation, the pain that you feel is already a hint a clue you need to do something, you know. That's why that is the good side of being fearful. That is the good side of having pain, you know. It is telling you that you can do something. I am giving you the clue so that I can catch your attention, that you can take care of what the situation is all about.
Yes. The courage was not the absence of fear. You turn your fear to power, the
Yep.
power to do things. Because, like,
Uh-huh.
if you want to conquer fear, do not just sit home
Uh-huh.
and think about it. Get up and do it, right? And
Right.
and and a physical therapist, I always tell my patient, the cure for fear is to do it.
Right.
And you have to deviate that mindset, that thought, because most of it are not true. So
Right.
it's very powerful that a lot of people with fears is somehow does not allow people to get what they want in life. It
Right.
limits, and but it
Right.
also empower you, but it could
Uh-huh.
also empower you to do things, right?
Right. Right.
Also, I'd like to quote from Martin Luther: if you can't fly, then run. If you can
Uh-huh.
run, then walk. If you can't
Uh-huh.
walk, then crawl. But
Right.
whatever you do, you have to keep moving forward. So
Yes.
I know. So I've learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but the
Right.
triumph over it. So, Doctor, enough with the fear, enough
Uh-huh.
with the enough of managing your fear and anxiety. We'd like to
Right.
know more for the sake of people that just listen to you. The first and second interview I got from you, I'd like to tell you that some of my patients or my friends are listening. We can to you.
Thank you.
And you know what? I know there's no monetary compensation, but I'd like to let you know that some of my patients who are in my Facebook are listening to you. Like,
Okay.
I
Thank
would
you.
treat their pain, I would treat
Uh-huh.
a therapist working as a therapist.
Uh-huh.
But some of this patient of mine or friends of mine are dealing with anxiety, with fear, and
Uh-huh.
listening to you. I would
Uh-huh.
send the YouTube link, and one of my patients said she even talked to me like 10 minutes, and he said that Dr. Beth, she said, is so awesome.
Oh,
Had
to
healed.
God be the glory.
Yes, it have healed her, you know, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. So
Thank God.
you are amazing. You are doing what you're supposed to do. By answering this call. And at the bottom of our hearts, we appreciate you so much. We appreciate it so much, and your time and knowledge. So,
To
in three
God be the glory.
yeah, do you have some goals in life, Doctora, or give me like 3 words? Who is Doc Beth?
Someone who loves.
So, do you have like goals or plans in life? I know you're in this, coaching.
I am still in the process of achieving the vision that God gave me years back when I was still a medical intern. I really would like to build a community, where people can live like in a paradise, like everything that they eat would be organic, that everything that they eat will be from the toiling of their own hands, that the therapy that they need would be looking at the beach, eating the fresh fish, that there is a time, to pray, a time to play, and a time to, because everything that we are supposed to be doing in life is to always make sure that we are in line with God, how He really designed us to live, because God created us with a spirit of love. It is not of fear, but with a sound mind. So if we are able to go back to the basic, then we should not be wrestling, with the kind of anxiety that we are faced right now. Um, if you remember the story of Adam and Eve, that they really had no fear, but once they started, to eat something that is not supposed to be, that is when things just turn 360 degrees upside down. So it's just like a lesson learned, that if you're not able to take care of yourself in a way that God designed you to be, that is when you are able to create all this stress, all this pain, all this chaos, all this fear, because we are supposed to live free. We are supposed to live happy. And so, yeah, listen to Miss Grace, about the good nutrition, the good exercise, and of course, always pray and always be thankful.
Yes, thank you so much. Each of us must confront our own fears, all
Uh-huh.
right? And must come face to face with them. So face your fear, guys. With this, I'd like to thank, thank you, Dakara. Thank you. We have your son EJ last time. This podcast was sponsored by Life Vantage. So I'll be sending you this, Dakara.
All right.
This is a B12 B6 magnesium drink. This is
Uh-huh.
needed for your this is we call it the brain food. So I'll be
All
sending
right.
you,
Thank you.
yeah, so we'll be sending you a actual um and thank you so much guys and good night. Thank you. We love you.
And see you soon. We love you. Good night.
I love you guys. And with this one, I'd like to say hi to viewers. I have one here. I think we have a lot of viewers from Philippines. Hi,
Uh-huh.
Joe. Hi, Miriam, listening. And I think is that your dogs? Say
Oh
bye.
boy, it is
Say
then
bye
there you're
to
going out. Yeah.
Blake
Anyway,
and
happy birthday again to the August celebrants. Today is my other friend's birthday, Miss Cynthia Santos. And Ruth, and every August, we have all these celebrants. My sister Anita Sereno, and we have Miss Carmen and Miss Beth. These are my vibes friends, and I wish you all the best. Happy birthday, and hope to see you there in the Philippines soon.
yeah, say we have some love here. Hello to Mariel Santiago. And also
Yeah.
we have a lot of viewers from Privilege, Your Switch with Grace. And we have also viewers here on our timeline. So guys, thank you so much. Next, we will have a speaker from talking about motivating, about leadership. We have big speakers coming up. So thank you guys and good night.
Good night.